Just turned the air conditioner off because I was hearing the fan sounded like it was blowing very hard and very loudly. And then I also noticed that there's ice forming here, here, and here. And then I removed this cap and a bunch of water came out, which it shouldn't be because it should be going down to the little pump down there, and then the pump should pump it out and into that drain. And then the other sound that I noticed is that it had like this almost like something tumbling in the, like your dryer. So very heavy, loud air sound with the dryer tumbling sound. So it didn't sound right. So I turned the bypass switch off. And now I'm going to look at the evaporator coil. It is probably completely frozen based on what I'm seeing here. Let's find out. Alright, so I got all the screws out of this panel. Let's see what's going on back here. I already tell it's not good because this is frozen. It looks like, yeah, the whole entire thing is frozen over. Looks like a massive iceberg in there. It's going to be fun to deal with. Right here where it drains in, the ice is almost covering the hole. So eventually, if it had kept running, the water would have been everywhere. Now it's time to thaw it out, and hopefully there's no serious damage. I'm going to use a heat gun to assist in getting this to thaw out. But you got to be careful not to let it sit in any particular spot too long, because it could start melting components, and there are some foam pieces in here. So I just have to make sure I do it directly on the iceberg, because that's really what it looks like right now. This is after an hour of defrosting with a heat gun. There it is, all thawed out. And I put some coil cleaner on it. Clean it up some. And then I also turned the fire on. I want this to dry out completely and make sure that it's completely thawed before I start again. So this is going to go for a little while. Today is rainy and not so hot, so probably go a couple hours without any leaks in the house. See the previous video where it shows this is completely covered in ice. Looks like an iceberg, but you can see where it's starting to freeze up there at the top. All these lines are freezing, freezing, freezing. And then there's also some freezing on the fins up there on the A-frame. And so this has only been on, it's producing some cold air, but in about 3-4 hours of running, this thing will be completely frozen very quickly. Here I am, bright and early in the morning. It's not even 7 o'clock yet in Asheville, North Carolina. This is a Trane XE1200 high efficiency air conditioner, and I'm out here because I want to find out what the Freon levels are on the external component of the system. The indoor portion of the system, the furnace part, is a Trane XE90. In the last 5 years, I've had to troubleshoot the system 3 times. Once on the heating side, and then 2 times, well, 1 time, which is just the current issue. And then when we first moved in, the realtor told us that the system was worked, and it was the middle of the summer, so really couldn't test the system. We could test it just to see if the AC worked. That time of the year, it was somewhat cool, so didn't really get to test the system out. And then because it's a heat pump, you can only do certain tests during the winter and during the summer. Anyway, the original issue was the some bugs got on the connectors that are right underneath this panel, and basically fried some of the wiring, so it basically just disconnected, and that was an easy fix. And then the other issue was there are 2 capacitors on the inside part of the system that had to be replaced, and they were definitely bad. Bright and early this morning, my wife woke me up and said there's water all over the floor around the AC in the house in the basement. So I got up, went and looked at it, and the water is not, if you look inside where the evaporator coil is, there's this little runner that water typically goes into, and that drains down the pipes that you may go to a condensation pump. That's not the water that's all over the floor. It's the ice melting and running down the walls of the inside of the system onto the floor as the ice melts. So that's what all the water was from. Fortunately, our water heater has a sensor underneath it that when it gets wet, the alarm goes off. So that's why my wife ended up waking me up. I've got this HVAC manifold set that I'm going to use to check to see what the pressure is. There is a data plate that is right there, and the data plate says that it is R22 refrigerant, and the PSI should be 10 pounds 14 ounces, and that's 4.93 kilograms. I've got my manifold set up. I'm going to set up the red line on the high side, which is the thinner line. This is the thick one. This is the thin one. And I am wearing gloves just to be on the safe side. Don't want to get any frostbite. I just had an HVAC tech come out. I did as much as I could do. Have a little bit of experience, enough to be dangerous. I've got the test equipment. The only thing I don't have is the R22, which requires a license. You could probably still get it, but in fact, if you look online, people are selling it. But part of the reason why people are selling it is it's either recycled refrigerant, or they're just trying to get rid of it because it's being phased out for a more environmentally friendly refrigerant. So he checked it out, did the testing, and he said it's low about 5 pounds, and this is a 10 pound 14 ounce system. 5 pounds would be $350 per pound, so talking somewhere between $1,500 to $2,000 for refrigerant. So if I were to do that, it would basically just be a Band-Aid, because the fact that it's 5 pounds low means that there's a leak in the system. So that creates a whole another issue. Is in order to actually find the leak, the system has to be completely drained of refrigerant, tested, which is about $750 to $900 to do the test. And then if the leak was found, the leak would have to be repaired, or the lines would have to be completely replaced. If in fact the system was purged, tested, and then new refrigerant put in, it would be $4,000 to $5,000, including the test of the system for the leak. Again, a Band-Aid. Because if in fact it is leaking, I go ahead with the refrigerant, fill it up to what it's supposed to be. It's going to leak, and then I'm just going to go back through the process again, because I don't know if it's a fast leak, a slow leak. I don't want to pay the money to find out whether it's a fast or low leak, or put $1,500 to $2,000 worth of refrigerant in it just to have it leak and go away. So it's been decided at this point to replace the system. A whole lot more money, but don't want to put the band-aid on and then have to buy a new system, because that band-aid would be anywhere up to $5,000 on top of the purchase of a new unit. And this is a heat pump. This is the Trane XE90 is the furnace, and then the XE1200 is the AC unit itself. This entire portion of the unit will be removed. This portion will be removed. Some ducting may need to be changed based on how the system's set up, and then the outside unit will be removed and replaced it as well. This HVAC company specifically uses Bryant air conditioning. Here's where I'm at with the installation of the new AC. I've been recording this all along the way, and then when it came down to deciding to get which AC to get, we went the Bryant Evolution series, which is supposed to be a good system. When we sat down and discussed it, the salesperson said, hey, if you order it now, we can probably get it installed around the 7th, 8th of August. And that was on 29 or 30 July when he said that. Sat down and continued to talk about it for a while, weighed the pros and cons, the cost, installation date. But because he said 7th or 8th, that really stuck in my head as, man, if we can get an AC in here sooner rather than later, that'd be great. Because we had already been at a week and a half, 2 weeks, no AC. I had to go buy a window unit, put it in the hole where my sliding glass door is, and put cardboard around it, and basically sit by the AC, because it definitely doesn't do much unless you're sitting right in front of it. So originally it was 7th, 8th, and then by the time we signed, right after I signed the contract for the AC, he then said installation will be on the 17th and 18th. And I was like, okay, what happened to the 7th, 8th? And he's like, well, that's based on the system you selected. And I was like, okay, I wasn't aware that based off the system I selected that it would change the date, because he didn't tell me. So then he leaves, and I'm under the impression that the 17th, 18th is going to be the days that it's installed. And then he goes, well, we can potentially, or we can possibly move it. I just got to talk to a lady at the office, and, she can, find somewhere to get this done. It's like, okay. And that was on a Friday. So then on Monday, she calls, and a little overly chipper, but she said, great news. We got your installation date set up for the 28th and 29th of August. And I was like, what? And I said, I was originally told 7th, 8th, 18, 19. Now you're telling me 28, 29. And she was like, well, that's what we got. She specifically says, because it's an Evolution series AC, there's a special team that installs those. So those guys are booked up. I was like, okay. And I was like, I would really love to get this installed sooner, because it would be 6 weeks before I can get an AC. And I got it. Other people have AC problems as well. But most of the time when it's your AC, you're more concerned about your own AC than other people. Pretty concerned about me getting an AC. Because there's 3 adults in the house, 2 dogs, 1 cat. And the house pretty much stays at 87 degrees inside with no air. And it's a log house. The salesperson and his boss come to the house and look at it, because they had to discuss the plenum. They said, hey, this looks pretty messy how it was installed. We need to change up how this is done. They also said there needed to be some 90-degree elbows. There's like one needed over there. There's one needed there, but this is going to change up. They call this the octopus because it's gigantic. So, and then the boss also told the guy that there needed to be some kind of intake vents up on the wall. He said high up on the wall because if you put it down on the lower portion of the wall, you're going to hear the AC all the time when it kicks on. But I don't know why that was a concern. You would think he would know because supposedly this is supposed to be one of their quieter units. This is actually the new system right here. And it's sitting up on top of sitting in a pan with a box. And then the unit is sitting on top of a box. And this unit does not fit in that box. So they have to get another box. Also, the air filter portion that hooks up to this is the wrong one, so they have to get a new one of those. And the filter was crushed too, so that wasn't helpful. And you can see what they've done. So that used to be for a propane furnace, that 3-inch PVC right there. And what they did is they ran all the new lines through that pipe. Instead of just cutting it all off, they used it as a little route. And it worked out because they didn't have to cut any holes or anything. They just cut the pipe off because it wasn't needed anymore, because the system is all electric now, the heating and the AC side. Previously it was electric, AC, propane, furnace. You can see the propane pipe right here. And then here's the new lines that are going to go into the new system. This should be removed as well. Didn't finish talking about what occurred. So the boss, when he got finished talking, I don't think he was aware of what the salesperson told me as far as dates, because his expression led me to believe that he was completely unaware, and not that you would expect the head honcho to know every little thing that's going on, but sometimes they do. But he was not aware of the dates and the date changes that took place. So they left, and then the salesperson called me 2 hours later and said, "Hey, my guys are going to come out and remove the old system." I was like, "Okay." And said it would be a couple hours. They showed up in like 45 minutes. They came and they had all the new equipment, pulled that out of the van, disassembled the old unit, and you can see pieces of it sitting around. This is the new outdoor unit. They replaced the electrical box. They got this compressor defender here. You can see where they ran all the lines all the way up to where that, not sure if it's a 3-inch PVC pipe or 4-inch PVC pipe. And they basically ran everything right through that pipe up there. I don't like how it runs down the side of the house the way that it is. It would have been nicer if it had run along the top and then down. That's how they did it. I don't know if they did that because there's a canoe sitting here, but they could have just asked me to move it, but they didn't. That's the outside unit. They do need to level this because the concrete underneath it is definitely not level. I'm not even sure who put that in there, but it's definitely crooked. They'll be back out today to finish getting this installed. Here's the new system. All of the ducting is original, except this time when they put the sure tape in, they put this stuff on it as well. It's got like a resin or fiberglass in it. You can see that there's no duct hose here, and we have a hole in the wall right there. The duct is supposed to go from there up across and then right here. They were going to put it down here, but they said that you would hear a lot of noise, so that's why they didn't put it down. The system isn't completely finished yet because it's summer. They haven't done anything with the furnace yet, so there's no electricity going to the furnace. The AC works. They only got the AC to work because they knew how much we were suffering. And I just noticed that there is a bunch of water in that pan. The old one didn't have a pan, but I hope that's not water that's going to continue to build good. But you can also hear a lot coming through the pipe there. I got this easy pipe, or easy trap, see-through pipe, so you can see if there's actually a clog in the pipe. It's kind of cool. And then they leave you this little brush right here so that you can push the brush through to clean out anything. The other thing is right there. If that water continues to build and pushes that up, it'll actually shut the AC off and give me an alert on my phone. That's the nice thing about this system is it's a smart system, so it will tell me what's going on my phone. The old system didn't have software. This system has software, so it just finished doing an update, so that's why the system is turning on and off.